Hey everybody, this is Brandon Rogers, and I am here with my dear friend Clark Beckham and his co-writer of his new song, Luckiest Man, which came out this weekend, Cole Allen. Thank you guys for coming.
Dude, thanks for having us, and thanks for doing this little interview for us, man.
Honored to be here.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, and it's my pleasure to have you, and I am totally taking over, even though you invited me here, but this is my show today.
That's right. It's your show, your world.
Okay, so I have 5 questions for you.
Love it.
So let's just get right into it.
Okay.
First question. Give me your idea of what you were trying to convey, and I will tell you what I received.
Okay, great. So I remember.
So you show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Yeah, perfect. I remember. So I was trying to chase Cole down for actually like a couple years. I heard a song that was of his band Opia that he's in, or was in at the time anyway, over the speakers at Starbucks in a random part of the country.
Amazing.
Stood up on a chair and was like Shazamming the speaker to find. I was like, I have to know who in the world is this and who wrote this song. It's gorgeous. And then finally tracked him down. My manager at the time got a hold of him. We started writing, and when we got together, I can't remember if I asked you, Cole, or you asked me, or we kind of asked each other. But I was like, someone asked the question, what's going on in your life? Like, which is my new favorite, probably favorite way to start a writing session is like, what's happening in your life personally? And he just was like, man, I'm in love. I'm just in love. I'm dating a girl for a couple of months. I'm in love. And I was like, I'm in love. I was like, I'm about to propose to my girlfriend. Like, I'm in love as well. And as we do this, I'm getting married to her in like 3 days from now.
Unbelievable.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And by the time this is released, we will be married. So
y'all have jumped the broom and tied the knot and all the things.
Exactly. We just got the rings today. Like, went by the shop and crazy.
Oh my God.
But I remember telling Cole, I was like, let's write a love song that no one could write unless they were currently in that moment head over heels in love. And I think that's really what I feel very confident that we succeeded in that. Cole actually came to the session with the chorus already there. He's like, this is a chorus I've been thinking about. And he's like, well, we can start from scratch if you want. I'm like, nope. Let's just work on the verses, because the chorus was really cool.
Yeah, and I got like a little idea for it because this is like a funny thing to say on an interview, but I have like a little bit of health anxiety. Sometimes I'm like, what if my heart just stops beating like one day? What if I just stop?
Oh my gosh.
And like,
hold up, I have to stop you right there, because that is literally me every day.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of us have it. We like, it's like something we don't love
Every
to talk
day.
about because it's like awkward to be like, oh, like what if my heart stops beating? And like you sound like a neurotic person or something. But I don't know, like I think about it, and I know a lot of other people do. And I had this thought where I was like, if like I died right now, morbid, I know, like I am so in love that like isn't that an amazing thing that I can say that I felt that in my life, you know?
Oof.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
That's why Cole is the songwriter of this generation.
Yeah, honestly,
that was good right there, man.
You guys wrote the hell out of this song. My take on it initially was I felt that it was coming from a real place of love, and I felt that you guys pulled off a lot of tricky little things in this, which is the imagery is actually pretty damn dark.
Interesting.
Like it's pretty like visceral descriptions of dying.
Yeah.
But it somehow never creeps into the sentiment of the song, because it's just like romantic exaggeration, and it comes off beautifully. I think you guys did a wonderful job with the song.
Thanks.
My next question is actually, how did you two start collaborating, which is actually you just answered. So I'll just move into one of my sub questions, which is this song in 12/8 or 6/8?
6/8, I think. What do you think, Cole?
I would say 6/8 because I don't know how to count 12/8.
I understand. I understand the phrasing sounds like 12.
Does it?
Like
Yeah,
this
well,
phrasing
no,
sounds like
it's-
my heart stops 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you mean. Okay.
I
because
see
the phrasing is that long, that's why I thought it was 6/8.
Sure.
I see.
Because like, dun, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You're right. It probably is in 12/8 then.
12/8 is usually counted in 4.
Oh, I see.
So
Oh,
it's
gosh.
easier. Anyway, that was just a random question I had because I was curious. Because one of my questions were, what were your influences going into this writing process? Like, because I heard echoes of. I'll tell you what I heard. I heard Paul McCartney. I heard. There's one moment in particular we'll talk about later that gave me Blackbird vibes. I heard blues references. I heard country references. I heard a worship reference. Like it gave me that Clark is responsible for that. I feel it. No, but I felt like it could be all those songs, and it was all those songs, but it was also none of those songs. So what are your influences? That's just what I picked up. I just ranted for a second.
Great point. My influence, Cole's writing from a fan perspective, which would be me, a fan, that I'd heard at that point.
I was like, damn, did you just call him a fan? Damn.
Very, I'm a Cole Allen fan for sure. Was very, I really noticed on how clever his lyrics were and the writing was. And so I had definitely had influence from that, just listening to Cole's music before and thinking, okay, now that I'm writing with him, I get to have these clever lines too. Not only will I have him in the room to come up with them, but it inspired me to go to that headspace too. And as far as I heard the country influence after it was completely finished, and I was like, that's interesting. Like, it does sound like I could play it as a country song. We could probably pitch it as a country song. There's some non-diatonic chords at the end that people might be weird about, or they might think it's the coolest thing ever in country music. And then of course the soul comes out, just because I grew up listening to so much soul, and in the chorus, Cole was like, "Hey, just freaking go for it." Baby, I'm feeling. And he was like, just go somewhere. And you just made it a half step higher than it already is. Good Lord.
What
do you think? What do you think, Cole?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, I grew up in a really small town, so I heard a lot of country music growing up, and one of my favorite things in country music is kind of the, like you're saying, sort of that cleverness and sort of having the end of the chorus be sort of a turn on the first half of the chorus. And I think that sometimes in just when I'm writing in more pop songs, I love kind of bringing that turn of phrase aspect of country music into, more pop or soul songs. And since I was working with you, I know I really knew that I wanted to write something where you could just sing your face off. So I think that was a big influence for the song too. It was just like giving you some space to just do your Clark Beckham thing.
Yeah, I picked up a little bit on that cleverness. That was one of the comments I want to say, because so much about songwriting is about sort of subverting people's expectations and then satisfying them, and then subverting, like they hear a rhyme that they want to hear, but you don't give it to them, but then you give them the next one they want to hear. Yeah. And so there's something about this song overall that's so satisfying. Now, the thing that I alluded to earlier that I was going to say this song falls into the category of, it's sort of what I call the sort of continuum school of songwriting, which is in reference to John Mayer's Continuum album, where you take the elements that make songs classic and integrate it into a newer song, so that you end up with this thing that is both timeless and fresh sounding. And that's a gift, because for a lot of people listening, if they're like music heads or whatever, it's basically 1 4 1 2 1 4 5 4. You know what I mean? It's very simplistic chordally, but the way the chords are used and the little excursions you take, which leads to my next question, which is whose idea was it to add the 2 additional bars at the end of the phrase for the tag of the chorus? Because that's one of my favorite things that you do in this song.
Yeah, well, first I'll say I think that the concept of taking something classic and making it current is kind of my ultimate goal in making music, period. I don't have a lot of interest, if I'm being honest. Now, I'm just saying this off cuff, so this might not be completely true, but I don't really have much interest in current pop music theory as far as melodies. Now, melodies, there's some gorgeous melodies that have come out now that are just different than classic melodies that are absolutely valuable and great to use. But I think the juice of melodies and harmony was really found in the 50s to 80s time period. And so that's kind of always what I'm going for. My ultimate goal is to take the classic and make it new, because I'm an old person deep down, musically and like emotionally. Like, I'm just an old guy.
As someone who's known him for a couple of years now, that I would say that is accurate.
I'm the same. I'm in
but
bed by 10
in the
so.
best way.
Yeah, right. And then remind me the last thing whose idea was it? Are you talking about the I'd be the luckiest man to have been alive? That one?
Yes.
That's
so
saucy.
Cole came in with the chorus, and I will say that was my one contribution of the chorus was to those.
I felt that in my spirit.
I can guarantee you that whatever
kind of
chords I had before were like 20 times more boring.
No, they were cool. I could tell like you want. I remember you playing it and you were just like, I want something kind of, and I'm like, I think I got it.
I got
and it's
you.
a mix of Blackbird, which it might be what you're referring to, the half step.
You're always waiting for the moment to arrive. That part.
Yeah. Sorry. And it's also very Randy Newman, and it's just a 2/5 thing.
Yeah, that's such a delicious, tasty, scrumptious choice.
Yes, because it is delicious. It's a delicious chord.
That's what I mean when I know this is supposed to be an interview and less of a fan session, but when you asked me to do this, I hadn't heard the song, and so I listened to the song, and now I'm a fan of the song because it was moments like that where you listen to the song and it's basically, it's pretty similar to a blues progression. It's not quite a blues progression, but it's bluesy progression. And then you make those 2/5s right there at the end that just it made the ending so satisfied. You made that last line you made that tag of luckiest man to be alive earned. You made people earn it. And that is something that is not always done in music, and I love you for doing that forever.
Thank you.
So let me see what other. I have so many questions here. I had to whittle myself down because I kind of, when I was putting this together, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to ask you guys. I listened to the song and I was like, I have so many questions.
Go for it. We can always edit down, so just go for it.
So what I wanted to say is I wanted to compliment you on choosing to go to the minor 5 in the bridge, and because that's one of my favorite. That makes me feel good in my heart when people do that. Going to that C minor is just so great, and you didn't use any words because what else more was there to say? And no, I just like that. I love a bridge. I even posted some on my gram the other day. I love a good bridge, but if you ain't got nothing to say, just sing some ums and ahs and play some cool chords. Let it breathe, and you let the song breathe, and that's just a very grown up thing to do, and I appreciated it.
Yeah, I think that was I'll say two things. One, I think bridges are by far the most contrived parts of songs typically. I love good bridges, but you can tell when there's a song, and then you can tell when you listen, and they're like, they forced a bridge in there. They're like, we need a bridge, let's make one, when there wasn't really one there. And I think Cole helped me remember, but I think it was you that was like, we just need something, not necessarily like a big bridge or something. We just need something here. Do you remember how that kind of came about?
I feel like we got to that point, and like the chorus of the song kind of has a lot of words, and it was kind of dense. You know, the whole song is a little bit dense with words, and I just kind of wanted a moment for it to breathe and just to feel good and kind of just jam out for a second. And I felt like a lot of times, you know, the chorus is that moment of the song where it feels like, oh, we landed, but like I don't feel like we really land until the very end of the chorus. So like I felt like we needed like more time to land, kind of, you know. And just jam it out and
just sort of sit in that landing.
Yeah, exactly,
you know?
exactly.
Like just like we landed, now we're gonna let you enjoy it on this.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna roll around a bit. And then just back to 5 major.
Before you got on, Cole and I were literally just talking about how we both consider ourselves singers, and then you sing, and I reconsider my life choices. I'm like, shit.
You guys are dumb.
But do I even sing though? Like,
it makes me feel like an imposter saying that I sing. Like you, like that day when we were on the mic, I was like, oh yeah, just go for it. Just you know, just sing it. And then I remember being so kind of not like surprised, because I knew, you know, from Idol and everything, but just like kind of blown away by that moment on that high note. Just, baby, oof, give me chills.
Yeah. You know, thanks, man.
You might edit out all these compliments. You feel uncomfortable. But seriously, no. I've told you this before. Like you have a sort of a painter's touch with your voice.
Thank you.
And it's a tonal thing that's just really pleasing to the ear. And also timing. Like you like you're an artist's touch to it, and I love it. Like there's a moment where you drag the rhythm of the melody slightly towards the tail end of the verse, and it's so satisfying.
Gosh.
Because it feels like you're living in the moment of the lyric.
Yeah,
and that's all. That's, as a songwriter, that's all I care about.
Yeah, and that I really appreciate that more than you know, because my dad, who's a wonderful singer, always said.
Oh, I've heard. Jeez.
He always said to me, he's like, listen, young artists use too much paint. And so that compliment that you said of just like an artist touch meant a lot to me, because immediately I went back to my dad saying, don't be a young artist who uses too much paint. And so I really appreciate you saying that. And you know, really what inspires a lot of those things, like what's the line? Can you remember what the line is right before every day?
I have the lyrics right here. Right here, what?
Before every day I fall a little more. What's that line right before it?
Knocks me out and I'm falling to the floor.
Knocks me out, I'm falling to the floor. And every day I fall a little more. Like,
that's the line I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What inspired that is, I think, just a great lyric. Like, I don't think if the lyric was just knocks me out, I'm falling to the floor, and I want to be with you today or for all my life or something like that, I don't think I would have sung it that way. But because it's almost like a, man, girl, being around you just knocks me off my feet, knocks me down to the floor. And every day I'm falling
it was
just
using,
a little more, you know?
It's like it's use of a literal visual, knocks me out, I'm falling to the floor, and the second time turning it into a different metaphor. So all of a sudden you have two metaphors next to each other. First it starts out as one, and then when you say that second one, it changes the first one.
Yeah, and it's also playful.
And that's the beauty of that lyric. I would say this to all these young songwriters. I've had a little bit of success as a songwriter, and when these songwriters
good success.
Look at this dang verse, there is nothing groundbreaking about it, but it's so perfectly constructed. Do you know what I mean? You're not being weird for weird's sake. You're saying the right words that mean the right thing at the right time, and that's all that matters in songwriting.
I feel like before I was a songwriter, I was a physicist, and I love the science of songwriting. I don't know if you knew that, Clark.
Love it.
And I do love the science of songwriting, but I feel like there's something to be said for just saying something that's true. And I feel like in the verses, like, we're just like, all right, let's just say things that are true about love now. And I feel like and I feel like that's so much of, you know, like, there's of course like the aspect of the song that feels, you know, like calculated, like, oh, we have to go here, then we have to go here, and I love that stuff. But then there's so much to it, which is like, just say something true. And that's something that's so cool, is like, no matter what you experience, I feel like you have like something to say about it, because you just have to say something honest, you know.
I love that you said that. That is my favorite term. I use it all the time in sessions. I don't care what we say as long as it starts with something true.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and if you can't think of anything, it could be true to someone else, you know.
Yeah.
It just has to have
That's so right.
It has to be rooted in honesty.
Yes.
You can be creative off of that honesty. You can shoot off of it, but every song you write has to feel true.
Yeah, that's
yes,
true.
100%. And the reason it works so well for us is because we were both for real in love in that moment.
Yeah.
And we both still are. Like, that's why the question, what's going on in your life right now, is so effective to start a session, because if we're on the same page, you can't go wrong, because it's like, if you just say what's true to you, it's right in line. Like, there's a line about, I remember, I personally, I hate traffic. I hate it.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
I hate traffic. And I will drive for an hour longer than I would if I just actually sat in the traffic.
Sure.
If I drive on an open road, even if it'd take me an hour longer to get there than if I would have just sat. I just hate traffic. But I remember hitting, like, on road trips, like to Oklahoma to see my family with Chanley. I remember we'd hit traffic and I'd be like, this is fine. I don't mind this at all. Like, because I'm in the car with you.
Yo,
like,
that's how you know
I don't
it's
mind
right.
this at all. There was zero part of me that was like, you know, like, got tense and like, oh, traffic. Zero part of me. Anytime we're in the car and there's traffic, I don't care at all. And that's where that line came from, because it was truth and because we're honestly, authentically in love when we were writing the song.
You might delete it, but you might not. As my mother would say, that means your relationship is anointed.
Hey,
I love that.
So be it. Yeah,
that's what my mom would say. That she'd be like, "Oh, it sounds like you got that anointing on it."
Come on, so be it. Yeah.
Okay, so we ranted for a bit because we're friends and this is fun, and I just, again, you poured every little bit of all that truth into that one line. Every day I follow it more, because that's the line I was referencing when you sang it. I was like, oh. Like, oh, I felt that. Now, final question. Can we talk about that ending? Because it made me so happy. It made me so happy. This little situation here.
Yes, sir. Come on, Brandon.
To here.
I just have to say too, like, he was like, oh, like, we can't do that, because he was like, half the day he was showing me, oh, do you know there's this really cool thing where you can change keys between here, and you do these chords, and I'm like, that's crazy. I had no idea. And I feel like we spent like half the session just like nerding out about chords. And then we got to the end.
Clark is good for that.
We got to the end of the song. We got to the end of the song. I was like, oh, like, dude, you got to do that thing with the chords where it goes, nah, 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 nah. And he was like, oh no, that's like too much. I was like, oh my gosh, just do it though. And he put it in, and I feel like we just fell in love with it.
That's what I meant when that ending.
Oh my gosh,
is
magic.
The nexus for my statement about satisfaction, about satisfying expectations and shifting and then making things pay off. That last choice, and I'm so glad y'all sat on it, talked about it, thought about it, so that when you put it on, it came out with confidence, and you attached it to the lyric and the meaning and the feeling, all of that, because that line sort of just puts a nice little bow on the whole song. It it is so satisfying to me. Like, I just really I listen to it and I just want to like curl up and like press repeat and like listen to it again, Because honestly, like, bravo, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I know that's
Yeah.
dominant. That's...
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you. You know, Cole's right.
died.
I was against it. I played it as a joke because that was one move, like he said, that I had. But like, yo, check it out. Because I do it when I do now. When I do Sunday morning, I actually do it there. So I go, Sunday morning, rain is falling. Steal some covers, share some skin. And then to the chorus, instead of going, that may be all I need. Here's for the music nerds. Here's when it works. It's when you have a melody.
Are you an
that
A?
hits. I'm an A. It's when you have a melody that hits on the 5 of tonic. So if I'm an A, that may be all. That'd be there. You can go to.
Wait, can you do that again?
That may be all. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, no, because the way you hit it, all the overtones hit
Oh.
just for a second.
Yeah, it was wild.
It was like, oh.
But what you can do.
Anyway, sorry.
What you can do is you can play the flat 3 and pretend you're in that key. So in A, you play C, and you pretend you're in C, and then you just walk down. So it sounds like this. And I never want to leave. That may be all I need. And you choose where you want to go. Choose where you want to go when you're all the way down, but the is the move that's like that just lifts my spirit.
And then you went back up to the flat 7 to the 1.
That's what I did there on Sunday morning, and then in Luckiest Man, na, 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 as long as you're by my side, I'd be the here comes flat 3, luckiest man too. And instead of and then I just go down a half step to 5, have been.
1.
Alive.
Yeah.
And when I did it, I was like, no, it's too much, it's stupid. And Cole's like, ah. And I was against it for a while. And then we just put it in there, and I was like, wait a minute. I desperately wanted to find a way to put that move in something. And then I ended up liking it, and now I'm so glad it's there.
Consequently, that was also the worship moment for me. That was I heard that, I was like, luckiest.
Yeah.
Like, I firmly believe in making music that you're like a fan of. That makes sense. Like the music
Yes.
exactly that you would want to hear someone else make as a song, if that makes sense. And so like I heard you do that, and I hadn't heard, like, I became a fan of it just as a fan of you. And I knew that the song had to have that because I felt like the best thing I could do as like the producer was make the song that I would be the most a fan of yours, if that makes sense. And
Yeah, that's cool.
you know what I mean though? Like,
I do. Yeah.